Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? New Orleans Saints have added a place kicker. His name's Charlie Smyth, or maybe it's Smyth. He's from Northern Ireland, S-M-Y-T-H. Kalen Kaler from The Athletic had it first. So Charlie Smyth is part of the International Pathway Program, the NFL, and being from Northern Ireland, he's been a goalkeeper. He's only been kicking in NFL football since August. So less than a year of kicking in NFL football, but 22 years old. So young guy, and in some videos that we've seen published on social media, he's already making 60-yard field goals. And I mean, high enough, long enough, plenty of leg if you're checking out these videos. So dude's got the leg. There's no debating or disputing that. It's really just a matter of, can you do it in games when it counts? We'll find out. And by the way, the International Pathway Program is interesting. This isn't the first time the Saints have signed someone as part of this program. If you remember, and I remember this because we had this guy on the show back in 2017, Alex Jenkins was a defensive lineman from England who signed with the Saints as part of the International Pathway Program. He's like an edge rusher back in 2017. Now, the interesting thing about that program as well is you can have these players on your roster and they don't count against your 53. So you can have a guy like Charlie Smyth or Smyth on the roster and grow him, develop him, and he's not going to count against your 53-man roster. So it's a good opportunity to grow the game internationally. A couple of things. The Saints and I have no idea if this kid's going to be able to kick effectively in game situations. We'll see. I mean, he's been kicking a football, an NFL football, since August. But clearly has the physical ability and the desire, so we'll see how it goes. But the Saints, you're always going to have multiple specialists in camp. The Saints and every team have that. But I'll remind you, last year you had Headley and Grupe that won your specialist jobs over incumbents, Gillikin and Lutz. And if you want to take it back even further, Blake Gillikin was a guy that they took a flyer on out of Penn State and ultimately won the job from Thomas Morstead, who was your incumbent for a decade. So the Saints go into into camps with specialist jobs and competitions open to be won. I mean, you went from Morstead to Gillikin and then Gillikin to Headley. And last year, I mean, you had made Will Lutz what you felt like and hoped would be your franchise kicker for a decade. And he was injured, came back off the injury, had a disappointing season, and then lost his job. So Blake Grupe won the job last year, and we talked about it throughout the season, but the Saints picked wrong. Like, they were wrong with Headley and Grupe. They picked wrong. Lutz went on and had a really good season in Denver, and Blake Grupe was one of the worst place kickers in the NFL. That's not to say he'll never get it together, but there were chunks of the season last year, after the Chicago game, notably, where Grupe was at about 78%. Like, being under 80% in the NFL in 2023, now 2024, is criminal. Like, it's just completely unacceptable. And Grupe finished the season at 81.1%. Of qualifying kickers, only two in the NFL had a lower field goal percentage than Blake Grupe. Matt Gay was at 80.5, and Greg Joseph was at 80%. Those are the only two that had a lower field goal percentage than Blake Grupe. Now, if you've got a long history of being an amazing kicker like Justin Tucker in Baltimore, who was middle of the pack in the NFL last year, but is the most accurate kicker in the history of the NFL, you can have a wobble year and you're going to get some grace. When you're Blake Grupe, you don't get a grace period. Like, I'm genuinely surprised they didn't cut him last year. I mean, he cost you the Green Bay game. He doinked one against Chicago in the fourth quarter that would have given you a 2-score lead. And he only made 81% of his kicks for the entire season. So any specialist, any kicker the Saints bring into camp this year, I'm taking it seriously. Because I don't know how, if you're Blake Grupe or anyone associated with the Saints, you can just go into this year assuming lock, stock, barrel, Blake Grupe's your guy. He just flatly did not perform well enough to have any semblance of job security. So I don't know that it's Charlie Smyth as part of the international pathway program, or you're going to bring in a veteran or a rookie free agent. But you got to bring in competition for Blake Grupe because there's nothing he did a year ago that should make you feel confident that he's your guy this year or moving forward at all. And it would be really cool to have an Irish kicker. I bet he could drink everybody up. Let's go, Charlie. Get it done. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.